Okay, so you are a win now team,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe you need some suggestions on waiver wire pickups. If you're a win now, maybe you got a couple bench spots open.
Yeah.
We are scouring through the waiver wire today and trying to find suggestions for you that could potentially help your team on this run. Now, to be clear, none of these guys I don't think we view as league winners.
No.
But we view them as players that can help you win games throughout the regular season, maybe even in the playoffs. They are the safety valves, the break glass players that you should have on your bench, or that you might be able to have on your bench, okay? So we're going to give you 2 players each, and my first one is Mark Ingram, okay? Right now, look through my leagues. Depends on your league size, obviously. If you've got bench like 15, 20 people on your bench, then Mark Ingram's probably going to be rostered. But, if you've got a standard 10, 11 team bench, then Mark Ingram's probably available out there. But let's talk about him. Latest reports on Alvin Kamara, according to Pro Football Talk, is that he is likely to face a 6-game suspension. He was arrested on the day of the Pro Bowl. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah, I do.
For battery following a nightclub interaction. The NFL's personal conduct policy dictates a minimum 6-game suspension for this scenario. So I think we should all expect at least 6 games for Alvin Kamara. I think now that the more I think about it, it feels like that's pretty solidified.
Yeah, that's what it feels
so
like.
that leaves the question: who will be the starting running back during those 6 games? And this is why I'm bringing you Mark Ingram. Let's look at his familiarity, with this offense and this team. Started his career in New Orleans. He played 8 years there from 2011 to 2018. Then he had 2.5 years away in Baltimore, where he had another Pro Bowl year, and then in Houston last year for half the season. Guys behind him on this depth chart: Tony Jones, Dwayne Washington, Davina Zigbo, Abram Smith out of Baylor.
Right.
And by the way, if I'm looking at another running back outside of Mark Ingram to potentially pick up, Abram Smith intrigues me a little bit as well. But I just don't know. It just feels like Mark is there's such a clear option here with his familiarity with this team and his success in New Orleans. And let's talk about that. He had 2 Pro Bowl seasons in New Orleans. He was a running back 11 in 2015, running back 8 in 2016, and the running back 6 in 2017. Now, to be clear, guys, I am in no way comparing 2015 Mark Ingram to what he currently is as a 32-year-old running back. Mm-hmm. All I am trying to do is build connection points for you with this team and the trust that Mark Ingram has built over time. Let's look at last year, even just last year, more recently, okay? In weeks 10 and 11, Mark Ingram served as their running back 1 when Kamara was unavailable. In week 10, Mark Ingram was a running back 8, He was running back 8 on that week. He was on the field for 85% of the snaps. He had 7 targets through the air. In week 11, he was the running back 1 again on this team, and he was the running back 15 that week, on the field for 72% of snaps, and saw 1 more target, 8 targets on the week. So we're talking about the 2 games that he served as our starter, 7.5 targets per game, which that's a pretty good number that you would want for someone who could be a handcuff. What if Mark Ingram starts this year, first 6 games, and he can average you 15 points maybe? In that offense, I think that's a possibility. So if you're struggling with a running back 2 or a flex, I think Ingram's a good person to pick up, because you could potentially plug and play him on weeks where you don't have confidence in the other positions. If it's flex, if it's RB2, whatever the case may be. So Mark Ingram, I think he should be rostered on every win now team, because there's a chance that he's someone that we're talking about.
Yeah.
On the other channel, as this is a start of the week.
It's a great
matchup. So I think he's worth rostering.
I definitely agree. I think especially with Alvin Kamara in limbo, still not knowing any answers, and maybe when this video releases, we might have more solidified answers. But why not pick him up and stash him? What's gonna hurt if you need to?
And when that news comes out officially, it'll be impossible to grab him, and probably Tony Jones as well. I just don't know if Tony Jones is going to be the guy. I think it's Mark.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, we saw a big tick when the news came out in general of Mark Ingram.
Yeah, Mark was available everywhere before that report came out. So,
All right, my first player, I believe you guys should be trying to grab off the waiver wires for your win now teams, or a win now push. For me, is Jonnu Smith. I said you guys should be taking Jonnu Smith in the waiver wire stash a long time ago, deep waiver wire pickups. And especially for a win now scenario, I do believe he is also going to be useful in weeks to come. Okay. In our leagues, he's available in only 90%. Or he's available. He was taken in 90% of the leagues. And
he was taken, or he was taken in 10% available.
He was taken. Yeah, exactly. He is available in technically 10% out of 90.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
The only reason of that being is because I'm picking him up.
Right. You're the only one.
I'm literally the only one picking up Jonnu Smith because I went through every single one of our leagues and picked him up because nobody wants him. And I think there's a little glimmer of hope. And I said this last time. I'm going to say it again. I'm just going to back my point. Follow the money. 4-year, $50 million. This guy got signed with the New England Patriots. So did Hunter Henry. They are both tied for the 5th highest tight ends. Both tied as the 5th highest paid tight ends in the NFL. You have to follow the money in this scenario, okay? And he did have a terrible season this past year, and he didn't have the rhythm. Finished tight end 35, only 28 receptions, 1 touchdown. It was a bad year, okay? Yeah. It was a really bad year for Jonnu Smith. But when I looked into this, they were saying how he lost his dad this past year, his mother or his father. I can't remember. He lost a parent, and losing that's hard, and to kind of cope with that. I mean, NFL players, especially in a fantasy perspective, you think they're superhuman. They don't really care. But that actually really affected him. And this year coming in, he's sitting in the reports. He's saying, I've already have a whole new light. I've kind of been past my grieving. But let's not forget who Jonnu Smith was. He was this guy in weeks 1 to 5 of 2020 or 2019 when he came in, and we were all raving and trying to pick up Jonnu Smith off waiver wires. He's that tight end wide receiver hybrid role. He can play the wide receiver or the tight end, and I think that's what's exciting about Jonnu Smith. Okay, I understand they have Hunter Henry's there. Hunter Henry was a top 10, top 12 tight end this past year. Yeah. But once again, we're following the money, and I believe that Hunter Henry, as much as I love Hunter Henry, I have a lot of stock of him as well. He's injury prone. He's a guy that gets injured usually often. Last year in 2021 was his first season. He played a full NFL season, his first season. Yeah. And he's been in the league since 2016. I'm not saying that he's going to get hurt. I'm not saying that I want him to get hurt, but I won't be surprised if he does miss, 3 to 4 games, because that's what he's averaging before this, averaging 3 to 4 games, is missing throughout the year. So for me, why not take a shot at Jonnu Smith? This is what I did. You picked up. These aren't league winning guys. These are guys that, hey, Hunter Henry's down. Who's a good flex? Who's a good fill-in option that I can? Yeah, exactly. And that's going to be Jonnu Smith. And we know what he can do. He's been fantasy relevant for a very, very short period of time. But in that short period of time, the whole fantasy community truly believed in him, and I think we need to pick up from there. Once again, 4 years, $50 million. Let's not forget about that. Follow the money. I do believe we will be surprised. Maybe he should be rostered even more often. Sure. By the way, we've seen this before. Gronk and Aaron Hernandez. They've had completely different talents, completely different time frame with Tom Brady. Not saying it's going to happen again. Not saying they're going to be that duo, that they're going to be both fantasy relevant. But we've seen this in the Bill Belichick era, and my guy's still going. Okay, this is still happening. So, and I think Mac Jones could make both Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry fantasy relevant. So, once again, Jonnu Smith.
For Jonnu Smith's sake, let's hope he's not too much like Aaron.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Anyway, moving on. All right, so I have another tight end for you, but I also have 4 players that I wanted to talk about separately that I'm going to talk about directly at the end of this take. Okay, because in case 4 options aren't enough, I'm going to quickly list off 4 more potential pickups for you. But let's talk about Hayden Hurst. Okay, currently available in about 55. Currently rostered in about 55% of our leagues. A lot of that was me and a couple other people. I think you might have him in one league. But look, CJ Uzama's role last year was inconsistent, but again, it's kind of what we're looking for here. A plug and play option, a break glass scenario. Oh my God, Mark Andrews went down, and I'm scouring the waiver wire right now, and there's only rookies. Like I can't start anyone at the tight end position. Last year, Uzama was a tight end 19, averaged 4 targets per game. He had 5 touchdowns, and he was the tight end one in 2 separate weeks. Okay. So the upside was there for the tight end position. Let's look at what Hayden Hurst has done in his career. We've only really seen good production 1 year, and that was in 2020 when he was a tight end 10 with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, that team, guys, had Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage on the team. So I understand we're going to a team that has 3 really good pass catchers.
Yeah.
And really difficult to compare those 2 groups. But the point being that in a high volume offense, he was able to be relevant. He had 88 targets, 6 touchdowns. And this offense could potentially need to change in Cincinnati. Now teams have an entire year of film on Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Does that mean that they can stop Jamar Chase? Probably not, right? But defenses might approach this offense a little bit differently, which might mean other players like T. Higgins, like Tyler Boyd, and like potentially Hayden Hurst could have a little bit more consistency this season. So again, the idea behind Hurst is not that he's a weekly starter, but rather bye weeks, injuries, plug and play scenarios.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you're in tight end premium leagues, a lot of these guys that we're bringing are going to be a little bit more valuable with that premium. In that elite offense, you just kind of want to attach yourself to guys that are a part of that offense that could potentially explode on any given week.
Right.
So I think Hayden Hurst should absolutely be rostered. Talked about Mark Ingram. I want to give you 4 other guys just quickly, 4 names, okay? 2 wide receivers, 1 running back. Actually, 3 wide receivers and a running back, okay?
Okay.
So AJ Green. AJ Green last year had 9 games where he scored over 10 points. I believe he had 3 games over 15. It might have been 4 games over 15 over there in Arizona, okay? No DeAndre Hopkins for 6 games.
Right.
So there's potential for AJ Green at the start of the year to be a flex-worthy option. I think Hollywood's going to go crazy and Zach Ertz, but maybe AJ Green can have some sort of role here again. How about Will Fuller? Currently unsigned, but Will Fuller is someone who has been a wide receiver 1. He's finished as a wide receiver 1 in his career the last time he had competent quarterback play. So obviously not on a team right now, but I can think of so many teams that could use a field stretcher like Will Fuller. Yep. I would bet my money that he's rostered at some point this offseason. And last wide receiver is Julio Jones. Now, this is one you're probably not going to feel confidence to start, but again, this is a free agent. Where could he land that would pique your interest? Think about how many teams, like if he lands in a bad scenario, you drop him straight away. Yeah. But what if he lands in Green Bay? What if he lands in one of these, good offenses with a need for a wide receiver?
Yeah.
And he even talked about his need to practice this year. Last year, he talked about how he was unable to practice and that he felt like he should have pushed himself more. So Julio Jones, and the last person I want to talk about is Deonta Foreman. He's going to be playing a very complimentary role in Carolina. Showed that he could really contribute to a team last year. He had 4 weeks over 10 points, serving as the Titans kind of complimentary back as well.
Right.
So there in Carolina, maybe CMC goes down or maybe he doesn't. Maybe there's a role here for Deonta still to keep CMC healthy. So just in case some of these guys aren't available, have a look for those honorable mentions as well.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, I guess we can even throw one more out there maybe in the middle of the season. OBJ, if he does get picked up, that can be something interesting. We saw him have success with the Rams. If he does go back to the Rams, who knows? Or he can go somewhere else, like you said.
Yeah.
All right, my last guy for me is Austin Hooper, another tight end here. A guy that I actually am really excited about and intrigued when I was looking at players to pick up. You really think about this team and where this team is headed. I do believe it's going into a rebuild mode. I do believe that there's going to be some opportunity for Austin Hooper, especially with the question marks in the offense. I guess if we really look into it, right? Roberto Woods coming in tore his ACL this past year. Is he going to be ready for week 1? The expectation is that he is, but if he does miss 2 to 4 weeks in the beginning of the season, there's already opportunity for Austin Hooper.
Sure.
Number 2, is Derrick Henry going to be the same? We've been saying it every single year the downfall's coming. The downfall's coming. The King's going to fall. I personally still believe in Derrick Henry, but maybe you don't, and maybe this could be a great opportunity for an Austin Hooper to now, once again, get more opportunity, right? And the third thing is Treylon Burks. We believe in Treylon Burks. We understand. I mean, first of all, he has asthma, okay? That's the thing. Is he really going to be successful? We don't know. I'm just joking. I believe in Treylon Burks. We believe in Treylon Burks. The asthma thing is not a big deal. But
there's question marks. There is
question marks. And I'm not saying we don't believe him as a talent as a rookie. There's always a stretch of where rookies are going to struggle. Unless you are a tremendous talent like a Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, that's completely different, right? Treylon Burks, maybe he's going to have some bumps in the road with Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill has some connection issues with Treylon Burks, and there's already reports, not on Treylon Burks, but with Austin Hooper, that he's been putting in the hours with Ryan Tannehill staying after he working out, outside of training camp, et cetera, which is great.
Sure.
And the last opportunity, or the last thought process is we've seen Austin Hooper be a top 10 tight end. He was tight end 6 in 2019, and that was with, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Matt Ryan out there. So 75 receptions, 97 targets, 6 touchdowns, tight end 6 in 2019. This past year was non-existent. The past 2 years was non-existent with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
It's because it was Baker Mayfield and the Browns. Maybe that's the case. We had high hopes when he was coming out in 2019, and then he gets traded to the Browns. That was stupid. We all said it. He's probably following the check. But why not take an opportunity on Austin Hooper? Once again, what's going to hurt? Plug and play. If somebody goes down, Kyle Pitts missed a game, Mark Andrews, you have him, he missed a game, or whoever you have in that middle tier misses a game on a bye week. Oh, dang, Austin Hooper, he's been there before. What if he can get you 8 to 12 points? That could be great for you, in my opinion. So take the chance on Austin Hooper.
Yeah, I like it. Just to clarify, he didn't get traded. He was signed. He signed there as a free agent.
You're right.
Yeah,
he just
to
signed.
Clarify. But yeah, I think all these options, again, none of these guys are league winners. And maybe that's not a popular video to bring, but I'm in some win now windows.
I definitely put in a bunch of waiver wires overnight when I was looking for people. I'll tell you that much. I saw
Austin Hooper added to a lot of your teams. I thought there might be a video about him coming up here soon. All right, guys, why don't you comment down below? Let us know about a waiver wire that you are picking up.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos.
Watch it.
You can also subscribe.
Right now.
If you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/FantasyLandFam.